Cavaliers of Virginia. Junpei Dowdy, the lead leg for the Wolfpack. If you recall, Larry, last year in South Bend, Pease Indoors, we had just a crazy finish in the 4x4 with the exchange zone and the unique 300-meter track at Notre Dame. 3 teams ended up getting DQ'd. It was a mess.
I remember the challenges of sometimes seeing what guys pass by the 800-meter mark, because there would be so many people in the infield, you know, that you couldn't see what was going on down in these zones sometimes. It's a challenge. Kentucky has an odd distance that's close to 300 meters, just like it.
Gun was up for a moment, but now they're going to tell the runners to get out and reset. It will be Marcus Manson for Boston College out in lane 6. Dowdy for NC State. The lead leg for the Wolfpack. Henry Young, Kyle Durham, and Alan Alvarez, the 4 for the Wolfpack. There's Manson. He'll go with Gallagher as the second leg, Sigalov the third leg, and the anchor will be Ryan Russell. Virginia counters with freshman Jay Pendarvis, the explosive Jordan Willis, Nigel Davis, and they finish with Brandon Outlaw.
Definitely the favorite in this race, Virginia. On the left of your screen.
They had a time of 3:21.16. NC State, the fastest time in this heat, the 3:18.24. First of 3 heats, the 4x400 meter relay.
I'm basing that on Outlaw anchoring for Virginia and Willis the second leg. I mean, those are 2 outstanding legs to have there. And 3:21 is a time that tells me that maybe one or both of those guys were not on that 3:21 relay team, which is their time that was submitted by the coach that they had done. So let's see if they beat that by a significant margin here.
Good start by Pendarvis. He's first to the pole. Dowdy on his heels, sitting second. Manson, Boston College, a distant third. Jay Pendarvis, the young freshman, getting ready to pass the baton, and it will be Jordan Willis. We saw him in the finals earlier today. Willis for the Cavaliers, Young for NC State.
48-16 for the first leg for Virginia for Pendarvis.
Well, here's what you were talking about. You expected Willis to extend it a little bit, and that's what Jordan Willis is doing right now. The junior, the veteran, one of the top sprinters in the Cavalier program, opening it up a little bit on Henry Young.
And we've still got a lap to go. So let's see.
On the back straightaway into the final set of turns, it will be Virginia with the lead. The Cavaliers, Jordan Willis. Nigel Davis gets the start. Good exchange. NC State second. Boston College behind Dennis Gallagher, able to make up some ground. They are third. And here's Davis, the sophomore. .47.20, the time for Willis in his 400-meter split.
This is Nigel Davis, just a sophomore. They have 3 underclassmen and 1 senior, and Brandon Outlaw, who will anchor for Virginia.
Davis around the turn, and it will be Brandon Outlaw bringing it home. Tell Davis struggling a little bit toward the end. Outlaw turns it into high gear.
You know, 2 major programs in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Virginia and North Carolina, made some major coaching changes in the last 2 years. Chris Miltenberg came in from Stanford to head up the University of North Carolina, and Ben Lanana did the same at Virginia, and you can see major improvement in both of these schools already. I know this is not a strong heat, but they have several outstanding 400-meter runners running on this relay. And it takes time to build a track program. It really takes years. So we wish them the best at making the ACC even stronger in track and field to those new coaches and the outstanding ones that they still have at many other colleges.
With their big guns in the lineup Virginia is going to turn in a pretty good time of 3:12.79. Again, their qualifying time coming in 3:21. So as you described, you knew that was going to be beat today. Outlaw with a 47.93 split. And that becomes the first time. 3:12.79 for Virginia.
I do expect the seeded heat, the one coming up after this next one, to be the real one of speed that you'll see in among these three different 4x4s. Let's take a look at some of the handoffs that went off coming down the home stretch. This is when you see for Virginia, Jay Pendarvis handing off well. This is the second exchange. You kind of make sure that you're getting a handoff in a race like this indoors. Yep. And the margin just continued to grow, as particularly the second and fourth leg I talked about. Legs were just 47 lows, as they say.
3:12.79 Virginia. NC State with a 3:16.71. Boston College a 3:19.08. Brandon Outlaw still trying to catch his breath. The Cavaliers with a 3:12.79. Emotional moment for the Clemson Tigers and this proud track program. We found out last November, really shocker, in lane 6. Yeah, you bring up the story of Brown in track and field, and they were able to come back through private donations. And you know, you hate shutting the door, but you also realize the reality of the situation. We're seeing it in some of the other sports. Stanford recently in wrestling, that's a proud wrestling program. They made the decision to drop it. Now there's a push to try to bring it back. So things change, but right now as we see it, just real tough news for the track world and really any fan of athletics and academics to really take. And an emotional moment for the Tigers as they get set for the final time to compete in these ACC indoors. A 4x400 meter relay, heat 2 of 3, timed finals. Virginia in heat 1, a 3:12.79. That's the time to beat. Rayan Holmes getting into position. There is Duke's Alexander Schwett.
You know, they have a good 4x4. You're about to see some of the talent that's not, you know, in this race. They've run 3:12. That's excellent. And these are the type of guys that are just going to go away after this season.
Gun is up and we are underway. Heat number 2 of the 4x4. Pittsburgh with Lonzel Fegan on the outside, senior lane 6, Rayan Holmes in lane 5, and then Schwett on the inside for Duke. At the pole, it will be tight, and it will be Duke. Schwett emerges. Boy, bang, 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 angled off each other's shoulder. It is Schwett, Holmes, and Fegan.
Now Rayan Holmes for Clemson will pass off to Terrion Conway, who ran the 200 so well. Let's see what he does. Does he grab the lead right away, or does he just try and power by on the second of the 2 laps? Wow, a little crowded here.
Duke actually moves into the forefront, the Blue Devils with Ezra Mellinger, but here comes the speedster Conwell on the outside.
It's best if you're Duke and you get a guy who's so great at 200 meters and he's almost beside you, let him go by you. Try and draft off him and get into second place and get close, and see if he went out too hard late in the race and he gives you a chance to go by him, is the way tactically to handle a guy with the great speed of Terrion Conwell.
Conwell, the transfer from Mississippi State. He's having himself quite a ACC championship debut, and he has given Clemson the lead. The Tigers will now turn to Fabian Hewitt.
46.66 seconds for Terrion on his leg, the second leg for Clemson.
Here goes Hewitt. He's been active. 400, 200-meter specialist for the Tigers. Running the third leg for Clemson. Again, Virginia's time in Heat 1, 3:12.79. Pitt in second, but not for long. Here comes Alejandro Rodriguez trying to work his way around the Pitt Panther, Raymond Oriaki. Oriaki putting up a pretty good fight. We come down to the anchor and the Clemson Tigers with Javon Williams. They put their fate in the hands of a freshman. Clemson.
Look at this battle.
And Pitt shoulder to shoulder, and here comes the Panthers with the bell lap. It's Roundtree for Pitt, exploding into the lead. Clemson's made a change in their anchor. That's Kiko Morrison, actually, so they were scheduled to go with Williams. They put Morrison in there, but there's no slowing down Jones Roundtree. What an anchor leg by Pitt.
Outstanding. Look at this move he made.
And he is across, 3:10.06. See if they adjust that down, they will. 3:10.05, and a big finish, a 46.42 from Jones Roundtree.
And Clemson's Javon Williams, just the freshman, wound up running 46, what was it, 46? Oh, they changed it now. 47, excuse me. The anchor for Clemson ran 47.95.
Pitt becomes the time to beat. 3:10.05 for the Panthers.
Good job by Coach Alonzo Webb here with his DMR and 4x4 teams. Smooth handoff here. Watch the move by Terrion Conway. Cornwell, I keep calling him Conway. I know of a Conway. Big lead by them. Excellent run, leg by him. 46.66 seconds for Terrion. But look what happened with Pitt. My goodness, what a great anchor leg by Jones Roundtree. That is the time to beat. You've got to get under 3:10 essentially to beat Pitt here. One more heat to go.
How about the job by Pitt in the relays this
Yes.
weekend? We saw the DMR have a near miss, and
Absolutely.
now the 4x4 in a position maybe to bring home.
I just saluted Coach Alonzo Webb and his staff for what they've done with their runners here. They have really shown well on these relay competitions particularly.
Pitt, the new leader, 3:10.05. Clemson sitting second. So Virginia, who won the first heat with the season, now we get ready. Third and final section of the time finals of the men's 4x4. The Noles. Third and final heat of the men's 4x400-meter relay, the closing chapter of the 2021 edition of the ACC Indoor Track and Field Championships. We have seen a number of meet records go by the wayside. We've seen a number of facility records be set as well. Another fine year of ACC competition. Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, the three teams. Virginia Tech is scratched. The Hokies have the team title wrapped up, so they will not risk any type of injury.
And Sean, these are the fastest teams. With Virginia Tech has scratched. They've got the title sewn up. No sense in risking an injury to anybody here. But Florida State, North Carolina, Miami have outstanding times here. And this is a battle for pride and an ACC title. And a place, if you're in the top 16, which I think they will be, to go to the NCAA championships representing your university.
3:04.62 is the college best right now. That's North Carolina A&T. They set that back on January 23rd. When you look at the NCAA bubble, meaning the fringe line to get into the NCAA indoors, March 11th through the 13th at the Tyson Center in Fayetteville, you're looking at a time of 3:07.86. So that now becomes the drive for these three schools. One final chance to qualify.
Our collegiate level 400-meter running is just off the charts. You see it on collegiate relays like this. To run 3:05, 3:06, 3:07, anything 3:08, outstanding indoor 4x400-meter relay time. The facility record that they're chasing is a superb 3:06.66 set by North Carolina this past year.
Rami Berberena for Miami on the outside. He's in 6. James Riviera, the sophomore, Florida State. Lane 4, Craig Sadler, the second. North Carolina, he's on the inside. I love this Tar Heel lineup. Sadler, St. Germain, Ohia, Inya, and then they close with Isaiah Palmer. Expect a blistering 400 from Palmer.
Both St. Germain on the second leg for North Carolina and Isaiah Palmer were on the team last year that set the meet record here for North Carolina of 3:06 and change.
Berberena with the lead, Miami in the opening 400 meters, and it will be the Canadian Stuart Baines. North Carolina second, St. Germain, Cameron Daniel third for Florida State.
47.93 for Miami on their leadoff leg.
Again, the NCAA bubble time, 12th time in the country right now, a 3:07.86. Virginia Tech, who scratched, clocked in at a 3:07.64 this year. Miami with Stuart Baines, a transfer, grew up in Toronto, Ontario. He has the lead for the Canes. Bambles, the young freshman. Here comes a late push by St. Germain. North Carolina really closed the gap. Good exchange by both the Canes and the Heels.
46.69 for Miami, holding the lead.
Oni Ohia Inyaya, your leader right now for the Tar Heels. North Carolina for the first time, snatching the 4x4 lead. Florida State with some work to do. A distant third, Damari Martin, the young sophomore, but he has closed in on Miami. Bambles,
who's just a freshman,
showing some kick, and he will go right by Ohia Inyaya. North Carolina better not fall too far back, even though they have a strong anchor coming up in Isaiah Palmer, and here we go, the anchor leg, and a bad handoff by Florida State.
Oh, they dropped the baton.
And Miami dropped the baton, so the gates opened up wide for UNC. Florida State with a terrible exchange. Miami dropped the baton, and now it's Palmer all by his lonesome for the Tar Heels.
And the battle is here, as you have said, is to qualify and dip into the 3:07 lows to try and make it to the NCAA championships.
Isaiah Palmer, he has been as steady as they come throughout his time in Chapel Hill. His final indoor competition, unless he chooses to come back next year, that eligibility idea for the seniors. Does not look like he's going to get there in the 3:07 time frame. Let's see. He's across 3:08.56, but that is good enough for an ACC championship. A familiar setting. North Carolina, the 4x4s over the past 5 years has been their strength, and they defend.
Well, you're allowed to go back and get the baton. The person who drops it has to go, is the only one that can retrieve it. Let's just see what happens here. Now he's got successfully, he's got it there. Did it hit his leg or something?
It looked like it hit Palmer on his left elbow as the two runners were side by side. Inadvertently, I mean, they'll take a look at it, but clearly Palmer was in his lane at Inyaya and Palmer. Pitt, for the second time this weekend, a runner-up, silver medalist in the 4x4. They join the DMR squad. Clemson closes out the men's track book with a third-place finish. They will come home with a bronze medal in their final indoor competition. You know, Larry, for a lot of these athletes, the realization, knowing the indoor season is done, if they're not moving on to the NCAAs, and the immediate attention turns toward the outdoor in a condensed schedule this year. Obviously, we've talked about it, the cross-country championships, the indoor championships all coming up, and then you turn the focus to the outdoors. So everything on a little bit of a different loop compared to a normal year.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself happy that they have been able to figure out, with the help of medical personnel around the country, how you can participate, how masks can help, how you can just keep people at a distance and yet still have events to function for society. Have athletes set goals, high school and in college, in many states be able to participate. We figured a way to kind of cope with this. And grieve the loss of 500,000 people at the same time.
And the ACC once again navigating these turbulent waters, able to get these athletes out competing, and most importantly, staying healthy. The women.
Okay, but his best indoors is only 67.
They are taking another look, actually, at the men's 4x400 meter relay. So let's hold off a little bit. North